Hey guys, Jackson Free Auto Mechanic. A couple videos ago I replaced the inner and outer tie rod ends for those who've been following. The kit also came with some sway bar links, so we're going to go ahead and install those today. This is the original one. As you can tell, it's kind of wore out, but some of the things that you might want to notice is the top part, which is a nut on the new one, doesn't have a place that you can put a socket or any kind of wrench or anything. So what I'm going to use is a pair of vice grips just to hold it in place. If you damage it, no harm, because you're going to replace it anyway. But when you take it apart, the old one, this one's got over 100,000 miles, and if you can see right inside here, it's kind of wore out. The bushing's worn as well. So once we put the new one on, you're going to notice quite a difference. The original one takes a 15 millimeter. The new ones require a 9/16, so you want to have those handy. You're also going to want to have a nice hammer, or persuader I like to call it, handy. And you'll also need to have a floor jack for this. You're going to want to make sure that you've got your jack stand set up underneath your frame or your torsion bar, so that you can put the floor jack underneath of your lower A-arm. And the reason for that, I'll get to showing you that here in just a minute, but I'll let you know, is so that once you get the old one off and you go to put the new one on, you can jack it up so that it puts the new link in position to where you can get your nut back on. Otherwise it'll be down too low to do so. Alright, another thing I forgot to mention is you might need a breaker bar to get it loose. Maybe you're stout enough that just your regular ratchet can do. By all means, if you've got an impact, go ahead and use it. Sometimes the nuts will round off, they'll freeze up, and I've been in situations where you had to use the cutting torches to get it removed. Hopefully that doesn't happen for you. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach the vice grips to this nut right here. And then we're going to use our breaker bar just to get it started. And it moved pretty easy, so you might be able to get away with not using a breaker bar. Depends on how much snow you've been driving in, I suppose. Once you get it down so far, it'll pop loose and it'll come right back off, and you're stuck with this portion here. And any means that it takes to get that loose is good. But what I'm going to use is my persuader. And it's still kind of froze, but That brake line in the way kind of makes it difficult. So I'm having a little trouble getting my hammer in there because of the brake line. So what I'm going to use is this 3/8 extension. It should fit just over top of the bolt. Give you enough access to get you a nice swing on it. It's moving a little. Kind of aggravating, but we got that part loose. Now we just got to get the rest of it off. Sometimes it takes a lot of persuasion. Doesn't want to come loose. Sometimes you can bend it. No. It's still kind of frozen. You can see now we're running right back into the same problem, so I'm going to get a longer extension and do the same thing and drive it out. Now I don't expect everyone to have an extension this long or to run into this same problem, but it happens. Now we got it out. So the next step is to put the new one in. And you're pretty much going to do that in reverse order. And you make sure there's no debris or anything in the way. So next we're going to put the new one in. And you want to pay attention to the way that it's assembled, because this is the exact same way that you want to reassemble it. You've got these little nubs that go inside of the sway bar and on the A-arm, and those are what's going to spread out whenever it gets compressed and tightened down. Now you remember me saying earlier that we'd need to put the floor jack underneath the A-arm. This is why, as if you'll notice, the bolt doesn't go quite far enough to give you enough room to put your top bushing on or your nut. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and place our floor jack underneath the A-arm and raise it up just enough so that we can get the nut and bushing on there. Now you don't have to raise it all the way off the jack, because all you're trying to do is give yourself that much more room. You raise it up a little bit and then check. what's going to go on top is your rubber bushing. And then your metal washer. And so you can see I've got enough room to put my nut on, so that should work. You can see I can't quite get it underneath the sway bar, so I can let the jack down just a little bit. Give me enough room to slide that up. Just put the nut on there just so that I can have both hands free to use the floor jack. That should give us just enough space to get our washer on that. Our nut started. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your 9/16. So you can use 2 sockets if you got them, a wrench, whatever's easiest for you. And then we're going to tighten that up, and you want to tighten it all the way till it stops. And that should compress the bushings the way that it's supposed to be. Once it bottoms out, you can stop. Whew. That took a little extra strength than I thought I'd need. So now that you've got that done, all we've got to do is lower the floor jack, get our wheel back on, remove our jack stand. Should be good to go. Thanks for watching.